Today's video is sponsored by the new Paperlike 2.0, which makes writing or drawing with any Apple Pencil on any iPad feel more like paper. Hey, it's Chris. Now, if you're like most people, you would probably think to yourself, should I get a MacBook Pro or should I get an iPad Pro? But what if there were advantages to using both simultaneously? Well, as it turns out, there are. Now, you could be here just for entertainment. You want to see what this is all about. And you could be here because maybe you're interested in doing something similar. But even if you're not, I do think watching this video will help you decide between these two devices because you'll see how I'm using them and what I'm using each for. So if you're new around here, let me just give you a 5-second overview of my desk setup. So right now I've got a 16-inch MacBook Pro living in the back corner of the desk, and it's closed and it's connected to a 49-inch LG super ultra wide monitor with a 12.9-inch 2020 iPad Pro front and center. And I'll just go ahead and link up all the other accessories you're gonna be seeing throughout this video down in the description for you. Now, the way that I've got this set up is that I'm using the brand new iPad Pro Magic Keyboard to control my Mac using Sidecar. Now, the trackpad on the Magic Keyboard won't let me control the cursor on the Mac in Sidecar, so I'm also using a Magic Mouse just to make everything fully usable. Now, to make sure I'm getting the full and proper resolution out of my super ultra wide monitor, I'm using an app called Switch Res X. And then in my display arrangement preferences, I've set up my iPad Pro right in the center so that the Mac's cursor will move seamlessly between displays. And then I'm almost always using my AirPods or my Beats for audio, so that's why there's no speakers around. And it's super easy to switch between having them paired to either the iPad Pro or the MacBook Pro using the Siri shortcut I've got on my iPad widgets or the Bluetooth icon on my Mac's menu bar. Now, I understand this is maybe kind of an unconventional setup right now, although I think it's going to become a lot more popular in the coming years. But if anything, what it really shows is how well so many Apple devices play and work together. Like, throughout the day, I'm constantly airdropping files between my iPhone and my iPad and my Mac, and when I'm away from my desk for a while and my Mac locks, the Apple Watch makes it super simple to unlock it just by tapping the mouse, since the Touch ID sensor is hidden in clamshell mode and I can get back to work. Alright, so which of these devices would I consider to be the main device? Is it the MacBook Pro, or would I consider it to be the iPad Pro? Well, actually, it's neither, and both. So basically, whenever I'm at my desk, Sidecar is always running on the iPad Pro. So I'm always using my 12.9-inch iPad Pro as extra screen real estate for my Mac. So for instance, this lets me keep Final Cut open in full screen on the super ultra wide so I can see my entire timeline and still have notes or a web browser open on my iPad screen. Or I can see a preview of my Final Cut edit on that nice and crispy iPad Pro screen. But it's not all about Sidecar here, because frequently throughout the day, I find myself wanting or needing to use something on the iPad Pro. Maybe to sign a contract, which happens pretty frequently around here, or to highlight some research, using the Apple Pencil, for example. Well, it's just a quick 3-finger swipe to the right on the Magic Keyboard's trackpad, and I'm back in iPad mode. And then I switch back and forth between Sidecar and my iPad all day long. I'll often start editing photos, like thumbnails for videos, by exporting a frame from Final Cut Pro on my Mac, then airdropping it over to the iPad, editing it in Affinity Photo or Pixelmator Photo, and then airdropping it back to the Mac. And believe it or not, there are advantages for me to do this, and it's quick enough and easy enough that I do prefer doing this over just using Photoshop on the Mac. One benefit of this setup is that when I'm FaceTiming or doing video conferencing, I can take advantage of the better front-facing camera on the iPad Pro versus the potato camera on my MacBook Pro. And then for whatever reason, I just prefer using Twitter on the iPad versus Twitter in a browser on the Mac, because sometimes you just want to tap and swipe. Other times, I won't just want to take a screenshot, but I'll also want to mark it up as well. And it's Command-Shift-4 or 5 on my iPad Pro's keyboard to take a screenshot even on my Mac, and then I can mark it up with the Apple Pencil and share it. Or just drag up with the Apple Pencil from the bottom corner, same thing. And then sometimes, maybe while I'm importing footage and I have a little downtime, then I'll launch a game and play that on the iPad as well. And sometimes it's just small things like being able to swipe down from the top of my iPad for a quick glance at iPad notifications, which are very different from the notifications that I get on my Mac. And iPad notifications, when they come in, tend to be more useful, even if I'm in Sidecar, and I can just tap and hold and quickly take action. It's really seamless. Plus, since the iPad Pro has such a great camera on the back, and because the Magic Keyboard is basically a tripod, I can just quickly grab any last minute shots I need for a video like this using something like Filmic Pro. What else? I mean, if I want to record a podcast or any other bit of audio, then I can use the really nice mics on the iPad Pro, which is sitting right in front of my mouth, to record on Ferrite Pro, which sometimes saves me a trip to the studio. And sometimes I edit those podcasts on the iPad Pro, and sometimes I pop them into Final Cut Pro and edit at 2 times speed. That's right, sometimes I edit podcasts in Final Cut Pro. What? Now, if I was just using the iPad Pro, then obviously I'd miss out on being able to use the super ultra wide monitor, and in this case, being able to have something like 6 windows comfortably open and usable at any given time, or actually 7 with Sidecar. That's one place where the iPad really needs to step it up, is external monitor support, because I love having as much screen real estate as possible. I would love to get another monitor like this and stack it above, because it's great for researching and not having to open and close things all the time. And then on the flippity flip, if I was just using the MacBook Pro, then obviously I'd miss out on being able to use the Apple Pencil for stuff. 2 really great things that you can do with this setup are check out the Daily Tech After Party. That's our podcast. It comes out every Friday, and I would love to hang out with you. And applehype.com. That's the site that I curate every Monday through Friday and let you know about the day's 3 Apple essentials, 1 app, 1 accessory, 1 important news headline in 15 seconds or less. Well, actually, I guess you could check those things out on any setup, including the one you're watching this video on right now. So make sure you do. I'll link this stuff up down below. So I could use just my Mac and its keyboard and put that front and center, or I could just use an iPad stand and pair it with a really awesome external keyboard like the MX keys. Or for that matter, I could have 3 screens going and have my Mac and my iPad side by side out front with the screen in the back. So why did I choose to set things up this way? Well, a lot of it just has to do with the new Magic Keyboard for the iPad Pro. The keyboard itself, the keys, and the typing experience are just so good. I really prefer typing on here over any other keyboard that I own right now, which, as a tech reviewer, is a lot. And it's actually easy enough, in my scenario, to just remove the iPad and place it on the desk if I need to sketch or draw. And I really love how easy it is to adjust the viewing angle, because 130 degrees isn't ideal in some situations, mainly when you're trying to type on your lap, but it's absolutely perfect on my desk. And then there's that new option with the Magic Keyboard to charge my iPad Pro using that extra USB-C port in the back, which then keeps my setup looking a lot cleaner and neater than if there was just a cord sticking out the side of the iPad like I've had to do in the past. And the list just goes on. But needless to say, this is by no means a perfect setup. It does have some flaws. Like hitting Command plus Spacebar in this setup launches search on my iPad and not on my Mac, even when I'm in Sidecar. And then the Magic Keyboard is missing an escape key, and it doesn't have a row of function or shortcut keys, which can slow me down a little bit, just depending on the task. But worst of all is that Sidecar still has a few nasty bugs. Like Command plus period, which is an alternative to the escape key, for instance, that crashes Sidecar. As do a few other keyboard shortcuts, like Command and minus, if you need to zoom out of something, either in Photoshop or Final Cut or whatever. If you own an iPad or you're looking to get one soon, then check out today's sponsor, Paperlike, now in the 2nd version, which is an accessory that makes it feel and sound more like you're using real paper when you're working with an Apple Pencil. One of my favorite things about the new Paperlike is that it's much clearer to watch movies or view content through it when you're not writing or drawing. Paperlike actually gives you more control with your Apple Pencil thanks to that paper-like resistance that it offers. And yes, it really makes a difference. Plus, it reduces glare and fingerprints, which who doesn't want that? Paperlike's great for anyone who wants to use apps like Apple Notes or Notability or Procreate or Affinity Photo, among many others. When you place an order, you're gonna get 2 Paperlike covers plus application accessories, along with free worldwide shipping and a 100% satisfaction guarantee. You can place a Paperlike 2.0 order using the link down in the description. So, is this a setup that maybe you should consider for yourself? Well, I'd say if you're super into productivity, if you're really into multitasking, or if you're a content creator like myself, then all this screen real estate and horsepower is a dream come true. Or if you're a pro and you need to do some extreme video editing or photo editing or CAD or 3D design or something like that, and you just need a lot of horsepower, but you want the best of both worlds. You want a great desk setup and a great portable setup, then this setup might be for you. On the other hand, this is obviously overkill for anybody who's just doing like light stuff like email or maybe some writing, stuff like that. But I do think if you're just an Apple enthusiast, if you like to be swimming in Apple stuff, it's a hobby for you, or you're just a fan, then maybe you would like the setup too. All right, well, that's it for this video. Thanks for hanging out. If you like Apple stuff and you've never seen any content from this channel before, then make sure that you hit subscribe because there's lots of fun stuff coming up. You can check out my recent iPhone SE video, more iPad content, lots of Apple Watch content, lots of app recommendations. The list goes on and on. So check out the archive, hit subscribe, and don't forget to come hang out on the Daily Tech After Party and on Twitter and Instagram. It's Daily Tech, spelled Daily T-E-K-K, in both of those places. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.